The first one is about an elephant tied to a rope. Once there was a person going past a circus and he finds that an elephant is tied to a rope. So he just wonders that the elephant is gigantic and mighty and it can easily snap that rope or even it can uproot the pillar. But it is not attempting to do so. It is staying calm. It is standing there as it is without making any efforts. So he is surprised and he asks the trainer, the elephant trainer who is nearby, he says why the elephant is not making any efforts to free itself, to escape from there. And the trainer says that when the elephant was small, when it was a baby elephant, we had tied the elephant, that baby elephant, with the same rope and to a similar pillar somewhere. Now at that time, that elephant had made lot of efforts. It struggled. It really worked very hard to free itself. However, after trying for maybe hours together, for few hours and even maybe a few days, then it realized that it cannot break free because the rope and the pillar was very strong for that baby elephant. So a feeling got deeply rooted in its mind that when there is a rope and it is tied to a pillar, it cannot escape from there. And the problem is that even after the elephant has grown mighty and gigantic, it has that feeling, the same feeling that it cannot break that rope. So it doesn't even attempt, even though it is far more powerful than the rope and the pillar which is there. The life lesson that we learn from this is which invisible rope is holding you back from achieving your goals. All of us have experienced some failure or other in our past, but it happens that we are bogged down by that failure. We still are feeling a kind of shy and hesitant to take any new challenges because we feel that yes, we have failed in the past and that we don't really get the enough boost to try ourselves. So the life lesson is to identify that invisible rope which is holding you back from achieving your objectives, to snap that rope and to move forward. Because that rope or that invisible rope, that failure was in the earlier circumstances. Maybe it could have been few years back when you were having lesser experience, when you did not have those skills. But you, after some period of time, now today you have more skills, you are more capable. You can definitely overcome the challenges with your revised capabilities, but the rope is still there. So the life lesson from this story is to cut that rope and to free yourself so that you can march yourself towards success. The second short story, it's about rocks, pebbles and sand. Again, as I said, everyone has heard these stories, but every time you hear them, you discover a new meaning. A philosophy professor once walked into a classroom with an empty jar and he asked all the students, okay, what do you find here? Is the jar empty? And everyone said, yes, it is empty. Then he put some rocks into it, some small stones kind of thing. And then it filled up to the brim and then said, is the jar full now? And everyone said, yes, it is full. Then he took some small pebbles and he put it into them. Now these pebbles, they slipped through the gap between the rocks and they started settling down from the bottom and they got filled up. So he said, is the jar full now? And again the student said, yes, it is full. Then he took a sand, some fine sand, and he started pouring it into the jar. The sand being finer, it again slipped through the gap between the rocks and the pebbles and it started settling down from the bottom and it filled up. Then he asked once again, is the jar full now? And everyone said, yes, it is full. The life lesson that we learn from this story is that the rocks represent the most essential and critical aspects of our life. The jar, the empty jar, is our life. The rocks represent the three most essential things, which is our family, our health and our character. The pebbles, they represent the second most important things, which definitely add value, but they are not critical. They definitely add value, and these are our job, our house, maybe our hobbies, our friends and everyone. They definitely add a lot of value and the life becomes much more meaningful, but you can live without them in case of emergencies. And the sand, it represents the most trivial things that we do in life which give pleasure, but they don't add any value. And the most common example in today's scenario would be watching the web series on OTTs or watching movies with friends, or the biggest one, which is even like I don't want to give any name to it, but the indulgence in the new generation is about indulging in the social media. When you are on social media, it doesn't really help you anyway, but you just pass time, you feel happy, it's a gratitude. Now the point is, the life lesson is that don't fill your jar with sand. Because if you fill your jar with sand, then there is no place left for rock and pebbles. And it is not worth living a life which is only filled with sand. First, you need to ensure that you put rocks into the jar. You ensure that your family, your health, your character is taken care of. Protect it, enhance it, grow it, and then you go for the pebbles, and then you go for the sand. If you miss this order, then your life may not be as worthwhile and as good as it should be. The third short story, it's about a carpenter. Now, there was a very skilled carpenter working with an employer for over 25 years, and one day suddenly he thought, okay, let me retire. I just want to enjoy time with my family, good time with my family, so I have worked enough and I should retire now. So, he expresses his idea to the employer and he says that, sir, I have worked for a long time now and I wish to retire. Now, the employer had a mixed feeling. He is happy. I mean that this employer, this employee, the carpenter is having some good thoughts of spending time with his family. He want to retire. That's all okay. He is also not feeling good because he's losing a good hand. Everyone wants to have good people working for him. But however, he respects his opinion. He says, fine, I respect your opinion and I accept your request for retirement. No problem. Just do one small help for me. Build one small house for me as a last task that I give it to you. The carpenter says, okay, fine, no problem. He's happy with that. He says, okay, fine, if that is the only thing. And then he builds the house. However, there is a small difference here. Since the carpenter has already switched off in his mind, he has already started thinking of his retirement, he doesn't focus on the work. He cuts corners at places where he can. He compromises on certain areas. He doesn't use his entire skill into making that house. And as a result, the house comes out in average or good or whatever. It is not the best that it should be. So after completing the house, then he goes to the employer and says, okay, this is the keys for that house and the last task that you've given me and I have done that. So thank you very much and now I would like to retire. The employer, in a surprising manner, he gives the keys back to the carpenter and says, okay, fine, thank you very much. You did my last task also and this is the gift from me to you, the loyalty gift that you have worked for me for so many years, so take this. The carpenter is very happy. He says, wow, this is really great. I mean, I'm getting a house is great. But the next moment, he realizes that the house is not the perfect house made by him. It was an ordinary house. Because he did not focus well on that. He cut corners and he compromised on very different things and he just wanted to hurry up the things and get going. The life lesson from this is that every morning, we get a new opportunity to prove ourselves. Every new day gives us a new challenge and new opportunities of going ahead towards our goal. However, we don't give our best every day in the thought that we will give our best some other time. We reserve it for some other day. And then suddenly one day we realize that this is not the life that we wanted to live. But who is responsible for this? We are ourselves responsible for this. So, the life lesson from this is that every moment we should give the best so that when we construct our house, which is our life, it is up to our perfection, it is matching with the skills and capabilities that we have and not something an ordinary for which again we are responsible. Life is a do-it-yourself project. You don't get retakes in making life, in building life. So the idea is that do the best in every moment possible and definitely the life will be far more superior.